Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Failed Journalist, and it looks like Tenet is on its way to save the movie theaters, or at least it will be up to Tenet. Because here's the thing, even though some states are reopening and have given the okay for movie theaters to reopen, much too soon, I want to add on a personal level, AMC Theaters has said they will not reopen the theaters until there are new Hollywood movies to show, pretty much going against what they were saying a little while ago. Now, let's look at this article from Gizmodo. Some places in the United States are already against good sense, considering opening back up parts of the retail and consumer sector, even amidst the ongoing novel pandemic. But AMC Theaters won't be one of them, at least not yet. As reported by The Hollywood Reporter, AMC Theaters said Friday that it won't reopen many of its locations until there's something new to show. That is, specifically until Hollywood studios are prepared to release films for theatrical showing. So, as quoted, as we plan our reopening, the health and safety of our guests and associates is absolutely our highest priority. To be able to open, we also need a line of sight into a regular schedule of new theatrical blockbusters that get people truly excited about returning to their favorite movie theater. These blockbusters are scheduled to return this summer, beginning with Warner Bros. Tenet and Disney's Mulan, with many more major titles scheduled immediately, therefore afterwards, AMC said in a statement. So, what does this mean? Well, and what's my opinion on this? Well, first of all, I think that AMC's theaters are a little naive if they think that they're going to have to wait just for, like, new summer blockbuster movies to come around. I think they will need to open a little sooner than that. And they might have to show some classic films, something similar to what China did, because people are going to need to get used to the idea of going into the movie theaters again. They're going to need to know that it's, at least get a sense that, okay, people are going, and they're coming out, and they're not getting sick, so maybe it's working, I don't know. So they're going to have to do things like that first. People need to get comfortable going into the movie theaters again. What's more, if social distancing is to be kept throughout the summer, like Dr. Birx has recently suggested on one of the daily C virus updates from the White House, well, you might want to start small and go big later on. Showing movies that people have already seen will discourage some people from going to the theaters. It will also, be a good way to test people going back to theaters for those who want to see movies in the theaters. But you start opening with Tenet, and people flood to the theaters to see Tenet. What happens if people start getting sick? Then you've created a problem. Like, you don't want to crowd your theaters too much too soon. In fact, I'm personally anticipating a huge outbreak in my area soon because we actually didn't really close the beaches, and there are a lot of people who went to the beach, and I saw it was crowding, social distancing not being observed. It was like, this is ridiculous. You're going to ruin it for everyone. Opening the theaters is going to be a challenge, and it's very interesting to see how much is being placed on Tenet. Christopher Nolan movies tend to do very, very well, despite them not being big IPs. Nolan is also a huge fan of the theater exhibition, and even wrote a letter to Congress begging senators and congressmen and women to save the movie-going experience. It would mean a lot to him if Tenet was the movie that got people back into the theaters. But I also know there's another thing going on right now, and I think it's something that the government really needs to make a stand on. What is the theater's liability if someone goes to the theater and they suspect they got sick from the theaters? Will they be sued? I actually think that the government needs to put their foot down and say with no uncertain terms, no, unless the company is doing something that was egregiously bad, like they didn't provide hand sanitizers, like they did not try to enforce social distancing, like they did not put the tapes and line on the ground to tell people where to stand. Unless the theaters were being negligent, no, you can't sue them for getting the C virus. You can't sue anyone for getting the C virus unless you could prove they were being negligible, which is very hard to do. And that's, I know, something going on with the movie theaters right now. They want to reopen in some of these states, but what's the liability if someone gets sick? They can't take that chance, so they're just going to stay home until we have a solid, firm, no, you're in the clear, you can't be blamed for this, it's an act of God, whatever. I don't think the theaters are going to be reopening. Now, I'm hoping by July that these things will start to, resolve themselves. The numbers have been very promising. They might soon even start going down. The testing is getting better. Who knows what's going to happen? But until then, AMC is going to be a little gun shy, admittingly, and they bought themselves a lot of time with their $500 million in debt offering. So they bought themselves a little bit of time in that regard. But it's still going to be interesting to see what actually happens. I think the theaters will need to reopen a little bit before Tenet and Mulan come out, because they're going to need to get people accustomed to the idea of going back to the theaters first. And you don't do that with a big budget tentpole. You do that with a movie that people haven't seen for years. And, hey, maybe they show it, maybe they don't, who knows. But it's obviously of much lesser demand than a Mulan is. But anyway, I want to know what your thoughts are. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.